Hello, and welcome to another episode of Not a Life Sentence. My guest today is a big advocate for education. She is an author, awards finalist, Monaco Voices 40 over 40 list, an international speaker, and the founder of MCFM Global Academy. Maxine Crowe, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, Carla, and thank you for that amazing introduction. Oh my goodness, it's so great to see you again.
Thank you. I must start by saying thank you so much for recording this with me. I know that you've
Thank
had
you.
a tough week. You've said goodbye to a dear mentor.
Yeah. Yes, Morris. I'm going to share. So, my mentor, Morris, big influence in my life. And yeah, this one goes out to him.
Maxine, can you please maybe introduce yourself? What do you currently do and what is MCFM about?
Hi. So, I'm a founder of a training academy, MCFM Global Academy. However, it wasn't always the case. I in the facilities management industry, where we work with large clients and look after their buildings and all of their services. So I started out in that industry over 30 years ago and have
Right.
worked with thousands of suppliers all over the world. We we have a niche within our industry which is called mobilizing and transformation, change management. And I,
Right.
over the last 20 years, have been part of change management projects. The academy is all about upskilling and bridging gaps in knowledge within this specialism. So we educate in terms of how would you set up supply chains, how would you set up services in a building, and how you lead teams and manage your teams and actually develop the soft skills and the human skills to do that. The academy
Uh-huh.
launched in September of 2024.
Right.
And it's an exciting journey because we had the development 23 through to April last year. And what's really important is that all of our courses, our activities that we do, whether it's a corporate workshop for an in-house team who want to upskill and gain knowledge, or whether it's an online course which you can go online and actually enroll and take courses. What's really important is that they are CPD accredited, so it's continuous professional development, the standards office, and we are a certified provider. And I'm also now, as of recently, a certified CPD trainer. And what that means for someone that's looking to enhance their education, gain qualifications, it means that they're able to, this is an internationally recognized certification and accreditation. So they can, anyone that trained with us, they take it anywhere with them. And that's really important for us because it's the value. It's not only a practical application of what we teach, but you also get the qualification that goes with it as well.
Right. Let me just maybe summarize what you've said and just to make sure that I got it right. Are the courses recorded? Are they like webinar on demand? People can watch them at any time that they wish.
So the courses, it's not they're not webinars, they're actual lessons. So you'll have a topic. So take a topic of team dynamics. There's three levels of courses that we have: a foundation level, intermediate, and an advanced level. So we're catering for people that are professionals who are just not entering the facility management market, or professionals that want to come into this space, and then we cater for people who are already in an industry and they want to enhance their knowledge that they already have. And then the advanced is for those who have been professionals and been in industry for many years and already have a good understanding, the wealth of knowledge. And the advanced basically is a deeper dive into certain topic areas. So the way they're delivered, we have subject matter experts in each discipline, and they're our instructors. They're also our mentors and coaches. So we actually produce the lessons and the courses and they record them. Then we have case studies, we have relevant videos. So some people prefer to learn through audio, through visual. So we always have videos as well that help to embed the
Yeah.
learning that we're teaching. The learning is very practical in its application. We're all industry professionals. So the design is on purpose in that any activity that you take, any course that you actually enroll and take, you're able to, I'm doing this because there's pieces of paper, you're able to actually apply it in your day-to-day work the very next day or the very afternoon. If you've done some training in the morning, you can actually apply it to what you're doing in the next moment. So very real world application so that you can, I'm doing this because I wanted it to be something that people you can touch, you can feel, you
Hands-on.
can really benefit from. It's
Yeah.
not theoretical, and that's really important because when someone's missing a gap in their knowledge or a skill of, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how do I negotiate a contract? How do I um speak to my team members? How do I manage conflict? How do I create a plan? It gives the practical tools to actually do that.
I just love watching you talking about it. It's like a mom talking about their baby. Your face just lights up. You're so passionate about it. And that is really sweet to say. So, reading a bit about your academy, there are
Mm.
5 aspects to it. Are you able to talk to us about it?
Yes. So in the academy, we have what we call the 4 pillars, which
Mm.
are around mobilization mastery. So it's all around mastering this art of what the activity that I explained in terms of what you're doing. So we
Mm.
aim to take you from zero to being a hero. That's the title of my book, actually.
More time.
So it's mobilization mastery from zero to mobilization hero. And these 4 pillars take you on a journey. So when you're in industry, you have the first pillar is all around when you're trying to win business from a client. You're trying to win a contract to manage and deliver services. So that's all around the beginning, the bids, pre-mobilization, the bid stage. The second pillar focuses on, okay, we won this contract, celebrate. Now we have to execute. How do we do that? And that mobilization second pillar is all about you need your mobilization plan, you need your risk registers, you need your to create your teams, you need your
Mm.
different leaders to manage each of the elements of the project. The third stage is now this on the in pillar one, you sold a dream to your client.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on how complex it is, you're not able to do that from pillar two, from the first setup. So sometimes what happens is that you're actually setting up and starting, and then you have to transition. So imagine like a butterfly doesn't start out as a butterfly, it's a
Mm.
caterpillar. And it's
Mm.
a great analogy because every remember the hungry caterpillar. And I talk in metaphors as well as you can tell, but it's really important to just get the message in terms of what I'm trying to explain. A caterpillar is the pre-mobilization, that pillar one, and you're then the cocoon and getting ready is all like pillar two. And then when you're pillar three is the transformation. So come out and you're this beautiful butterfly. So in terms of, I know it sounds crazy, but you'll get it. So that pillar three transformation is when you're taking what you've sold to the client and then you're actually transforming all of the services and all of the practices and embedding everything that you sold. So it's a journey. You can't just go from step one and then end up at step four without anything in between.
Straight.
There's a
Mm.
transition. It's a transition. There's a change piece that happens with the
Yep.
people as well as with the systems and all the processes. So that pillar three is what we call the transformation. And then the final pillar four is about stabilization. And as the word explained, you're settling in, you're introducing innovation, you're making sure that the operation is running smoothly, you're then getting into a rhythm of managing business as usual with your new client. The fifth pillar is our social impact. And everything that we do has an impact on communities. So there's underprivileged, disadvantaged, and we talk about education for positive social impact. So whether you're taking on one of our online courses, whether you're attending a workshop, whether it's a one-off project, whatever it looks like, 5% of everything that we do goes into our scholarship fund and our social impact. And what that then creates is the funding for us to educate anyone in these communities for free. And
Mm.
the more successful we are, the more impact
You
we can
can.
have in society
True.
and in these amazing communities. I'll give you an example. So we've already started. So there's a last year I went on my mother's a 7 Day Adventist and they have these conferences. And I took her to this conference last year and met an organization called ASNA. Now,
Mm.
ASNA are an organization that provide retreats for families with disabled and mental disabilities. But what happens, a bit like when you're caring for a disabled child or where you have diverse challenges, there's no let up, it's 24/7. So ASNA, as well as providing education and a space, they also provide these retreats. So one of the things we do is we sponsor ASNA for the retreat. So they've got one coming up in April. So we've actually donated as part of our funding to fund a family to actually go on this
Send.
retreat. Another example of our social impact was Nigeria, where I attended an education retreat at the beginning of the year. So I spoke at that event online, and
Yes.
as there were talks and as there were presenters, educators were expressing where they had their gaps in knowledge or in their experience or some of the challenges. So all that the event was all around transgenerational leadership and education. And I spoke about how we reclaim the future through education. What came out of that for me was an opportunity to curate a number of what we call micro learning. And it's small bite sized chunks of knowledge that breaks down a really large topic area. So, as a result of those 2 days, the organization now have 30 of these micro lessons across
Mhm.
leadership, communication, collaboration, teamwork, emotional learning in the classroom. Some of the educators were actually teachers. So that's just one of the ways we utilize the academy for good and for impact and change through education. They're the five.
Wow.
That's the five.
Thank you. You did mention the scholarship. I just wanted to mention here that we all know the importance of education and how it does change people's lives. We just need to look at Singapore, which is a great example of it. Its leader 40 or 50 years ago, they understood the importance of it and they started the change with education. For you, you did mention the scholarships. Why give back to the community? Why is it so important for you to upskill people and to help people?
So it's important. Why is it important? So if I start with my own experience and my own journey, I didn't come from a privileged background. I wasn't always in the position that I am today. I came from a blue collar family. My dad worked in a factory where they made wheels and things, trucks and Sankey. My mum worked in a place called Russell's Rubber where they produced rubber. And she also worked in a place called Everready, which made batteries. So it was very much a factory, blue collar working class family. And when I started out, so the chap I mentioned, Morris, he had a retail factory opposite my home where we produced garments for retail stores and very large stores back then. And then I had a pattern of working in different factories doing different things, even
Yeah.
stuffing pizza baguettes with their garlic butter, and oh my gosh, yeah, some
Yeah.
stories to tell there for another time. But the point is, I got to a stage where I didn't want to work in factories anymore. I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I'll give you an example. When I anywhere I worked, I would always be training someone, training new people that came in. I would be mentoring, advising people that would work with me on the shifts in the teams. And so I always had, and also working with my former employer in the retail, the roles and responsibilities have always been quite big. So quality control, checking with the retailers that all the workers and the subcontractors that we had were working to the right level of standard, that they were producing the quality of work that we needed to have. And that was in my teens. So I
Mm,
already had the seed of being an educator.
okay.
And to change that trajectory of factory blue collar at 23, at 22, decided, if I need to change, I have to
Change
change,
something.
change something. So I went off to uni. So I went to careers, I took some advice, and they just said, oh, you'll never get into university because you don't have A levels. I said, well, I have one A level in art, fine art history and painting. It's an A level. So she just, to be honest, back then, the careers officers, I don't remember,
Mhm,
but it wasn't
mhm.
very helpful. So I started applying to universities. I actually got into a very good university. And in my mind, I was going to study training and development, to
Mm.
become a training and development
A
manager,
trainer.
to do, yeah. I didn't even end up doing that as a degree. I ended up doing business and psychology. It was the first time of modular degrees that came out. So that said, I just learned so much and I ended up being in business. However, that thread of educating, mentoring, training never left me. Um, so the reason I'm so passionate about it is because it changed
Mm.
my situation and changed the trajectory and the journey and gave me a career. And you're still learning. Even today, I'm still learning. So your education
Definitely.
doesn't stop, but education gives an opportunity to change your situation and to explore other things that you may not have got exposed to. So the academy and the work that we do raises awareness of an amazing industry, a global industry, which is pretty much recession proof. I caveat that because,
Mhm.
people have offices all over the world.
Yep.
Businesses have some have premises. Yes, there's people that work remotely. However, facilities are everywhere globally. And being able to be in a position now to share and use the academy as a vehicle for that change, that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Mm. And just talking about your passion, you and I first met in April of 2004 at a summit in Romania. You were you were on stage and talking about the importance of education. A person in the audience minimized its importance. You became like a mama bear and defended it with passion. I guess maybe you have touched base on this, on the importance of it and the importance of spreading the knowledge, and that it does free people. I mean, not everyone is going to go to university because we know that university is not for everyone, but as long as it is a choice.
Yeah. And
So,
also, yeah, there's other ways. Education isn't just through an institute.
yeah.
It's not. You have life. You're learning through people that you interact with. You're learning if you decide, oh my gosh, I'm going off traveling. You're learning about different cultures. You're learning so much from the world. It's all education. It's just a different way that you're being educated.
Mm. And I guess you have mentioned something very important is that learning is a lifelong journey. We never say, that's it, I've finished learning, because really, we never do.
No, no, we never do. And also
We
as
always
we,
evolve.
yeah, yeah. And also as we mature and grow, we might then decide, oh my gosh, I want to be something else. I want to do something else. You
Yeah.
have to train to do that. That's education. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely everywhere. And you know, I spoke the retreat in January about I didn't come from a traditional route of education. So I didn't go to a teacher training. I didn't do the levels and train and get educated in a school. My education was within the business, within a corporate environment, and then studying part time. That's how I'd
Mm.
go earlier years, I'd be at college part time, working full time. So even then, the education didn't stop. It's just been part of my life journey to become an expert in facilities management. I had to get a qualification to do that. I had to learn about what it means to manage buildings, manage services, the legislation that comes with um, managing equipment in buildings, and everything in between. All that was learned, was taught to me, and then you apply
Mm.
it, and then you gain your experience, which then helps you to educate others.
For you, you do have a wide experience in facilities management. What was the light bulb moment when you said, I would like to have my own academy and support others and to share my knowledge, but in a different way?
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting question. That's a good one. When I came into the industry, I was young, in my late 20s, and I was coming off the back of working five part-time jobs. I talk about it in, so I had five jobs to make ends meet, and I just wanted one job. I wanted one thing, a career. And when I thought about the different jobs and the roles that I was doing, I then thought about, okay, what is it that really excites me? Where's my sweet spot? What is it I'm passionate about? And it's
Mm.
serving, it is educating. In my industry back then, it was very much male dominated, hardly any ethnic diversity. And I made a decision that you can, you always have a choice. You always have a choice. And just for listeners out there thinking, oh, well, it's great, I'm here just talking and it's easy. No, it hasn't.
Mm.
This is a 30-year and counting
Journey.
journey that have been on. It's not been easy, but the way you approach and your attitude is what helps you move to that next level, helps you take that next step. So what I mean by that is when I started in the industry, recognizing, okay, there's not a lot of me in the room. However, I have responsibility for these buildings, these properties, these clients. I
Mm.
can either do one or two things. I can either say, oh, it's too difficult. Oh, I'm a young black female in this white male environment, because that is engineering, construction, physics. That's what it was. And or I can let my actions speak for themselves. And that is the choice. I love this industry. I absolutely love the excitement of seeing a client that's just, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's just absolutely amazing. And it's not for self gratification at all. You know, there's a it's a skill and it's complex, the industry that we work in. And so you study hard, you learn it as much as you can so that you're then in a position to apply that knowledge and serve. So, yeah, I just chose to let my actions speak for themselves. And you don't,
Mm.
and it's not about color, it's not about gender, it's not, it's about doing a really great job.
And I guess it's about giving people choices and people not to feel stuck.
Absolutely. And also about being, there is a vulnerability there as well, because you can never know everything. So I'll give you an example. A client would come with a problem to something, and because sometimes people feel they have to please all the time,
Yeah,
and then you end up running around, getting burnout, getting all of those things that happen. Been there, done that. It is about learning how to say no, but doing it in a way that you still get a good result. So here's an example. A client wants something, however, it's not in the scope, or so you find another way to present that a solution and also present a case as well. So it's not just a flat no. You have to put some meat behind it. You have to put some evidence behind it
of
and do
course.
your homework, do some due diligence about it so that, you're going with alternative solutions. Okay, we can't do option one, A, whatever it might be, because there's a lot of listeners that will be thinking, how do I do that? It's actually looking and speaking to other people as well, finding people that have been in those situations and learning from them as well. So you've got peers, whatever industry you're in, you have peers, you have people that are doing similar roles. You have people that are really flying and doing amazing work. Ask them. They've been there, they've felt the pain, they've done it. Ask them. Ask us. That's
Mm.
how we learn, that's how we grow. When you stop being curious, when you stop asking questions, that's when you start to just plateau and you don't move forward and you get frustrated. You feel like you're in a rut. So
Mm.
that's what I would say.
Maxine, how do you do or how do you deal with burnout? Or what do you do when you are frustrated, when you are feeling down, or when the day isn't going according to plan, basically?
Okay. Many years ago, I did actually experience burnout. And no, I think this is probably the first time I'm speaking about it in an openly.
Is it?
Um,
Oh, thank you.
we're on a podcast. I've spoken about it to people if it's relevant and to
Yeah.
help them. There were lots of circumstances around that where you start to feel overwhelmed. The situation for me, I just separated from my former husband. I was a single mom with a 5-year-old and I was actually self-employed at the time as well. So there's a number of factors going on. I hadn't told my employer that I had separated, and the role was a global role. So I was traveling a lot. I had to juggle a lot of childcare,
Mm.
but equally in my mind, I was trying to keep everything exactly the same for my 5-year-old so that the impact of the separation wasn't, she didn't feel it. So she's very active after school activities, very full on. And I was doing my own things as well. But the key thing that happened 12 months after the separation was I took a trip to America with the team and I came back and I thought, oh my God, I jet lag doesn't last 3 weeks. I was feeling by the time I got to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I felt like I needed to lie down. Obviously, I can't in an office, drinking lots of coffee, trying to stay awake, trying to build up and I was completely depleted. And my boss at the time said, oh, you need to go and get a blood test. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking, I've got to keep going, got to keep going, be in the office
Of
at
course.
night. And I was I was traveling over 3 hours round trip for work at the time, as well as abroad. I went to get the blood test. Long story short, I was completely depleted in terms of my iron, and my blood count was very, very
Deficiencies.
low. Um, and I got signed off for 4 months. And when I look back and reflect on that time, it was just a number of things that was just building and building and
Mm.
building, and I was just ignoring all the signs. So for listeners out there where you have very demanding roles, that it is,
Mm.
and you have equally the commitment. So I was a single mom. I did have support in terms of childminders, nanny, and things like that. But the bottom line was I wasn't looking after myself and I wasn't reading the room. And so within those 4 months, what I did, there were a number of things. I had counseling. So I say sometimes I have a stigma around counseling. However, when you're at a point where there's overwhelm, you might not have a lot of family close by or people you feel you can talk to. The counseling helped to reframe me as a person. I was still trying to discover myself out of a 16-year relationship, I was completely lost. I didn't know who I was. So rediscovering who I was, the counseling. And also there was an amazing lady that I had met who taught me, it's called Buteyko breathing. And it's a way of uh, breathing that controls and heals. Breathing is very powerful, by the way.
It
Um,
is.
so it was learning skill. I needed new skills in my toolbox, basically, my mental toolbox, my physical toolbox. I joined the gym and started training, getting myself physically fit. And with having that time off, I had time to focus on that. I did quite a few spas, as in rest, relax, going off to a spa just to restore, revive, and all of these things, as well as just really thinking about what it was I wanted to do when I eventually returned to work. So, in terms of my situation, accepting as a single parent, I had limitations. Before, I wasn't even thinking that way. So, my mindset shift, there had to be a mindset shift in being completely open. This is my situation. I'm a single mother. I have to travel at certain times. I can't just pretend, and that's what I was in denial about the situation, be completely honest. And it was about not feeling the guilt as well. So
Yeah,
the guilt feeling of, oh my
of
gosh,
course.
I've got to be everything for everyone. You can't. You just
Uh,
can't. So
I
the
must say, whenever one becomes a parent, and more so for females, guilt is built in.
oh,
Whatever you do, if you worked full time, you would feel guilty. If you stayed at home, you would feel guilty. If you cooked, you'd feel guilty. If you had takeaway, guilt
guilt,
is embedded as
it's
soon as you
everywhere.
become a parent.
So the relearning, the counselling, that was all. No, don't feel guilty, and also learning how to speak openly about. I need to leave at 3 o'clock because I have to pick my daughter up from childcare at 5, for example. Yeah, I can't be in the office at 9 a.m. because I have all this stuff that I do hours before, and the travel to get. My meeting is at 10 o'clock. So it's then, things then started to get better. I basically went into a project management role when I returned to it. So no line responsibility, took a drop in my pay, and then started to work. I didn't work internationally then, it was more local projects, and that was more manageable. Yeah, and that was how I dealt with it. These days, it's different kind of challenges that you'll have. I have a lovely place where I go and walk. So you say, how do I cope with those days? I go out. I love being out in the open. It clears your head. So I advocate walks. If you're not near a park or near somewhere, even just being out in the fresh air, half an hour, 30 minutes a day, it just helps to clear your mind. It helps you to be quiet, to just reflect and just take a break. I work on my computer a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of screen time. I have a window. I have a
Oh,
window right in front of me.
yeah.
And so sometimes I'll just look up from what I'm doing. I just look out. You look at a furthest point, and that gives your eyes a rest. So it's also about your personal care when you're working long hours, taking lots of regular breaks, having water. So here's the thing, this I have to share this with you because I'm not great at drinking lots of water and I know that I need to stay hydrated. So
Yeah.
this literally has on it 7 a.m. let's go. 9 a.m. great start. 11 a.m. hydrate yourself. It actually has me drinking and
Where are you
reminding
up to now? It is
5
10
p.m. Don't
10 a.m. your time.
Yeah, so this needs refilling because it stopped at 5 p.m. Don't give up. So I need to actually refill it for today.
So you're doing well.
Little hacks, and then I drink lots of herbal teas as
Yeah,
well. But
that's
little hacks like that can kind of help you, little habits, little
lovely.
changes to get good habits and
Yeah.
make them into a routine. And that's how I deal, that's how I manage things.
And I swear I didn't pay Maxine to talk about counseling. She did mention it herself.
I did freely. Yeah, absolutely. And um, some people may have a stigma about counseling, but counseling isn't about, oh my God, I'm broken. It's not,
Something is
yes, the
wrong with
burnout was being broken. It's about gaining new skills, manage and cope with life. Not cope, no, thrive, to thrive. Um, we all have so much of capacity and education. I'm passionate about education as well because you learn how to do new things. The academy, there's a lot of learning, behind the scenes, the security, the people that I have to have in place to support with running the academy. It's a whole different learning because I'm transitioning into this education space, which I haven't had not the traditional experience of before. So again, you have counseling, you have guidance, you have peers that give advice and mentors that support you. That's what you have to do.
exactly. Maxine, how were you as a child? If your mom was here, what would she say about you?
My mom, what would she say about me? Oh, that's a really good question. She would probably say, because if I think about what I was like a child, I was terrible. I would, not in a bad behavior. I was always a happy child. I was always into things. I remember I love water, and
Yeah.
I have early memories of my mom constantly trying to get me out of the bath when I would be because I loved water. I loved deep water as well, and because it was soothing, it was just, and maybe that goes back to child. I don't know, being in the womb. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to psychoanalyze
Because
it.
you,
I remember us growing up around lots of families, so I always loved having lots of people around. I was always a good host, so I'd always be helping mom do things, get things ready. Yeah, I think I was always running everywhere. I had bags of energy. So I remember always running everywhere. And I had lots of siblings as well. So that was playing with siblings and friends. I think she'd say I was a happy child. I definitely wasn't a troubled child. And I love to read a lot as well. We grew up very
yeah,
religious, so I used to read the Bible a lot. I used to challenge myself, so memorizing all of the books of the Bible and reciting them. Yeah. She'd say I was all right as a child.
I'm sure she is proud of the woman that you have become now.
Yes, the other day she actually said, "Oh, when am I going to slow down?" Is what she said to me. I says, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you've just opened the academy now. Isn't it time to start?" I said, "We're just beginning. It's just the beginning." I was just
It's
thinking, "Oh my gosh."
only the beginning.
No, that was just the opening the door. And now the work starts and the impact and the amazing things that will happen in the future start.
Mm. Maxine, you are in the first book of How to Survive and Thrive, which is a collaboration with the founder of Reebok and One Golden Nuggets. Why this project and what message did you have?
So, uh, a few years ago, I went on a key person of influence training, more training. And one of the challenges we had was around doing an event because it teaches you about your profile, publishing, partnerships, and a few other things as well. So I decided, and this is how I met Joe Foster and Stephen. So the event was just coming out of COVID, and I thought, oh, it'd be great to do something where the social side, which I'll tell you about, but also gets people going, and it's like really high energy. So we hosted an event called Just Keep Going with Joe Foster and Stephen as well. One golden nugget shares nuggets of wisdom, and being the three words I have and that I live by are inspiring, educating, and energizing. So, One Golden Nugget family gave me a way of inspiring.
To do so.
And yeah, to be inspired, but also to inspire others. And the How to Survive and Thrive opportunity was as part of One Golden Nugget family, we said, well, would you like to be part of the book? And of course, it's a yes, because then you get to share your experiences, you get to share a journey that will help and inspire others that may be in a certain position. So that's why I shared my story. It's to benefit others and to inspire others. That was the reason. It was just something I had to do.
And the book got translated into 10 languages so far.
And I believe it was number one in many countries. I think 9 or 10 countries, or it's
Mm,
just incredible. So all the lives that have been impacted by
that's right.
the amazing stories that we tell. And we're now on to volume 3, book 3. How to
Right.
Survive book
Yes.
3 is currently being
In the
produced.
in the making. Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's any listeners out there that want to share their amazing journeys, then reach out to Carla, and I'm sure she will point you in the right direction for that.
In November, you attended a summit in Nigeria. Can you tell us a bit more about it? You got an award as well. And more importantly, what did you come out with?
So if let me just talk about the award for a minute. It's actually here. This I had no idea at all that was going to happen. It just completely blew my mind because I always say now that with the academy, with the education, I'm actually living on purpose. This is what I was called to do.
Yeah.
So when the invitation comes to say, "Oh, would you join us?" This entrepreneurship summit was Global Entrepreneurs Festival was about eradicating poverty through entrepreneurship. And what that meant is that they have an e-village in Ondo State, which with entrepreneurs, they go, they incubate their ideas, and it's how we support these entrepreneurs to create great businesses, to scale and grow their businesses within the countries. So basically, we talked about our experiences as entrepreneurs, our journeys, giving entrepreneurs advice, talked with many of them. They had questions, and we're basically sharing our knowledge, our experiences as peers. And you can only eradicate poverty when you're in a position of knowledge and you have a vehicle to do that. So there were
Mhm.
entrepreneurs there with retail businesses, technology businesses. Some were starting up, some thinking of starting, all at different levels. And, bringing in experience from other countries meant that we're able to contribute towards their success. And that being able to be part of that journey was enough. The award was, I just got really emotional because I wasn't there for an award. I was actually really emotional about it because what we're doing and what we're starting with is going to be creating so much change and so much impact in those communities. And the aim is that all of the sustainability goals, so number one is poverty. The second goal is something else. There's education, quality education, well-being, and all of those 17 sustainability goals are what we're actually introducing every year. So this year will be the next goal, but it doesn't stop the activity that's going on around eradicating poverty. That continues. And being part of this 17-year-long journey is pretty incredible because it touches on,
Definitely.
our goals as well, which, eradicating the poverty, quality education, mental health, well-being, the partnerships, the collaborations, and they've already started. Um,
Mm.
and it's pretty special. It's pretty special.
So the domino effect is still happening.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And what are your future plans?
Future plans. Wow. So my future plans are so the Academy is a global academy.
Yes.
and we're still raising awareness of the academy and the services and what we offer. We're currently setting up the community interest company, which is where all of the scholarship funding, all the grants for all the different regions will be pulled together so that then we can start impacting in the different communities. So partnerships is really important. So partnerships with organizations who not only want to do good in communities, but also have teams that want to that need to be upskilled. The long-term vision is that we have an industry that is flooded with qualified mobilization professionals, and eventually they're certified as well. And what that does for organizations, it flips the script in that there's no longer a shortage of resources to carry out projects, because you can either come to the academy, you can we can you know place people that have been qualified within these organizations, and also the upskilling as well. So when we now raise the bar in terms of the level of skills people enter the industry with, and also specifically in this niche, it just means that there's a reduction in costs, budgets, constraints, better success rates with project delivery. So it has a knock-on effect across the whole industry and across many organizations.
And
That's the
you
vision.
are back traveling as well.
I am. So I have a couple of weeks ago, we had an entrepreneurs, I call it an entrepreneurs retreat because imagine this, we're on a beautiful ski resort in Italy, and we take over a hotel, and it's called Ski Person of Influence. So there's 50 of us as entrepreneurs, and it's rich in terms of content, knowledge sharing, conversation, and it's run by, I'm sure they won't mind, a company called Dent Global and Momentum put these trips together. So that was a couple of weeks ago, and you come back with. It's also about sharing your experiences and
Let's see.
supporting others as well, because we're all at different points in our business. So that was quite special. And then I'm one of the international speakers at a convention in India.
Mm,
So one of my aspirations, one of part of the vision is to educate in India. And this opportunity has come through being part of How to Survive and Thrive, and the friendships and the collaborations that you gain from that. This is a result of one of those relationships. And I'm actually quite honored to be speaking at this event, which is the first time in India. And I'm really looking forward to the experience.
nice. So you do have lots of trips, you do have projects. How do you foresee your academy in 10 years' time? Where would you like to see it?
Oh, I would love in 10 years' time, the academy is mature, established in a number of countries. It's a global academy. It's recognized as one of the institutions where, if you need to get the education for mobilization, for transformation, for this niche, this specialism, this is the place where that you go. The thousands that would have come through the academy over the next 10 years, the scholarships, the lives that will have changed in communities in the next 10 years, it's incredible. It's an incredible vision. And it's not just me at the heart of it. We have some amazing instructors, industry experts who are also mentors and coaches that are part of this journey with us.
We will be praying for you and supporting you in any way that we can.
Thank you.
Anything else you would like to end the chat with?
I would say definitely follow us on LinkedIn. So there's our Academy, MCFM Global Academy page. So do follow us. We do post on there regularly what's up and coming for 2025, as well as lots of knowledge sharing as well. We're on TikTok. People say, TikTok, why TikTok? So there is an intention there in that when I talk about raising awareness of not only our industry, but about what we do. There's bite-sized, just tiny bite-sized pieces of knowledge that we share now to start the curiosity going, and then signpost to come and visit the academy to see what we're doing and how we're changing lives. I'm on LinkedIn, that's my main platform. However, you can sign up on Facebook, we have a presence, and Instagram as well. And YouTube, there's lots of amazing videos which you're very welcome to share. There's lots of content you can binge out on us, binge out on me, binge out on MCFM Global Academy, and just share if there's anything that resonates. Just contact, reach out. I'm always excited about meeting new people.
Maxine Crowe, thank you so much for making the time to speaking to me. I really appreciate it. Take
Oh,
care.
you're so welcome. It's so welcome. Thank you, Carla.